morning.
Now, for the purposes of this hearing, we're just going to call you by your first name, Beth. Is that okay?
That's wonderful.
Well, Beth, if you'll please introduce yourself to the jury.
I'm Beth Weaver. I was an in-home facilitator and a speech and language pathologist.
Now, you kind of jumped ahead on me. You said that you were a speech pathologist, and that you seem to use that in past tense. Have you retired?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
As a speech pathologist, what did you do?
I worked with, when I worked in the school district, I worked with students who had cognitive deficits, who had speech impediment, who had dysphagia or swallowing difficulties, who stuttered. I worked with a lot of the students from resource that just had a delay in language and difficulty understanding what was really being asked of them in the general classroom.
Did you work with students with neurodevelopmental disorders?
I did.
Now, Beth, before you retired, you mentioned that you worked with the school district. What school districts did you work with?
All of them. Fort Worth ISD and Azle.
Now, Beth, you also had told the jury that you were an in-home facilitator. What is an in-home facilitator?
An in-home facilitator is an individual who tries to help the student adjust to the classroom, what's expected of them in the classroom, how to behave in the classroom, and also goes into the home, works with the parents, makes sure they have a program that would work on the behaviors that need to be worked on. And then I also took individuals out into the environment, teach them how to order at a restaurant, teach them how loudly to talk at the table and how loudly not to talk, and just teach them etiquette and go over situations that they have difficulty staying within the lines of what we consider to be close to normal.
Now, you said that you worked with the families as well. Why would you work with the families?
Because he lives there, and because that program that that student is working on in the classroom, the same type of reinforcement and the same type of punishment and the same type of results are expected out of the home also.
What happens if you don't have that balance where you're working with you in one case where the rules are enforced and then going home and the rules are not enforced? How does that affect the efficacy of the program?
It affects it for sure, because the student is at home much more than they are at school. I know that everyone thinks they're at school all day, so that they're at school longer, but the effect of the home disciplinary actions affects what he's or she's going to do at school. If they get away with interrupting or whatever, losing their temper, getting their way, being a spoiled child, they're going to expect that very same behavior when they get to school at first.
So it seems that this program that you developed isn't just a behavior modification for the student, but also for the people at home.
That's right.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes, ma'am.
Beth, I'm going to hand you what has already been been admitted as defense exhibit number 69. If you'll just glance through those for a moment for me, and you
Okay.
can keep those up there. And Beth, while you're glancing through those, I was just gonna ask you a couple of questions. One is, as an in-home facilitator, did you maintain records of your visits with Tanner and his family?
Yes, ma'am.
And as you're looking through those records, I want you to tell the jury whether or not your records from your visits are contained in those records.
Give me a minute. Yep, they sure are.
Okay, I'm sorry. Are the records that you?
Yes, they are.
Okay, thank you. Beth, are the services that you provide to the students, do they fall into the category of being therapeutic?
Yes,
Why is that?
because we're changing behavior.
Did Azel always have in-home facilitators?
No, ma'am, I was the first. You have met the first.
When did they start using them?
2003, I believe. Maybe a little bit in 2002.
What were some of the reasons a student might qualify for an in-home facilitator?
Behavioral issues. Let me just say, can I speak freely?
Yes, ma'am.
Autism is,
Well, hang on, let's do this. Let's do a question and answer, okay?
Okay. At the time that Azel ISD started these programs, were they having a lot of autistic students in the school? Or did they have a lot of autistic students in the school?
we had our share.
Were there any difficulties that these students were having in relation to mainstreaming?
Absolutely.
The program that was started to help these autistic students kind of navigate school,
Yes.
and your role in that was as a navigator.
Yes.
When the program first started, how many students were you responsible for?
In the beginning, 7 or 8. As time went on, it grew into the teens.
Now, Beth, what was the goal of the in-home facilitator program?
Is to help the student control their behavior, to help the student understand why a certain behavior is necessary, to help the student navigate through life using the behaviors they have learned.
How was it determined, or how did ISD decide who was in or wasn't in the program?
They were tested by another individual, a diagnostician.
And if they met the qualifications, then they would be admitted to the program?
Yes, ma'am.
Was Tanner admitted to this program?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so you said that they would be seen by a diagnostician. Was it just a diagnostician, or were there other requirements that had to be met in order to be admitted into the program?
Phew. What do you mean by other?
Well, was it just one person, or did you have a team of people?
Team.
What other types of team members helped make that decision?
The teacher would be involved, the diagnostician, the school psychologist, and the school counselor, and the speech and language pathologist.
You mentioned a whole set of goals that the program had. What did you do to help these students achieve those goals, to navigate?
I worked with them on coping behaviors. I put them in situations that I knew would cause them anger or frustration so that we could work through that and let the student understand, oh, yeah, if I do this behavior, it's a whole lot better than the other one I've been doing.
Now, you said that you had about 7 to 8 students. Did you have specific schedules for each student? Did you work with them as a group? Did you work with them one-on-one? How did that work?
Most autistic students I saw on a one-to-one basis. And when they reached a certain level of behavior, then I might pair them. You know, I did put a couple or several together, and because that only enhances their ability to be around people and behave correctly.
Now, Beth, I want to turn your attention to Tanner Horn. In your capacity as an in-home facilitator, did you ever provide services to Tanner?
Yes.
Do you recall what grade he was in when you first started the services?
7th grade, I believe.
Do you remember how old he was?
Lord, no. I don't know how old I am.
And Tanner had qualified through all of the diagnostics to get into the program, is that correct?
That is correct. Tanner had also gone to the Child Study Center and went through testing there.
You're going to have a moment?
Yes, ma'am.
No, wake up. Got to stay awake. Can I clear something up? Can I clear something?
I want to talk to you a little bit about Tanner and your work with him. When you worked with Tanner, did you have the opportunity to observe his behavior with other students?
Yes.
Did you have the opportunity to observe his behavior with his teachers?
Yes.
Did you have the opportunity to go into his home?
Yes.
Did you have the opportunity to not just go into his home, but meet with his mother and grandparents?
Yes.
Did you take him out into the community?
Yes.
you a little bit about your observations during these time periods. How would you describe Tanner's ability to recognize social cues?
Social cues, did you say?
Social cues, yes.
Not good.
Why do you say that?
I mean, at times it was okay, but his cognitive abilities stopped at a certain point for him to be able to understand jokes, teasing, bullying. He was definitely bullied through school. And those were aggravating to him. And he got angry, of course.
Did Tanner appear to be able to identify other people's emotions or feelings?
At times.
Do you feel that he was able to understand boundaries?
No,
Why do you say that?
because it's true. That's all I can say is, if he wanted to do something, and whatever he wanted to do was an item that belonged to someone else, it was difficult for him to understand that he couldn't use that item if they did not give him permission.
Beth, I wanted to back up just one bit. As a speech pathologist, did you often work with students on the autism spectrum?
Yes.
And how can a speech pathologist help an autistic student?
Training for a speech and language pathologist includes cognitive, includes emotion, how someone interprets others' emotions and how they interpret what it is they're feeling inside of them. And we were trained in methods to do that. That's about all I can tell you. We were trained.
So you had mentioned that Tanner had difficulty recognizing and following social cues. Is that uncommon with an autistic student?
No, it is not.
Now, Beth, what about concrete thinking? Can you explain to the jury what concrete thinking means?
I can. Well, as you know, the difference between concrete and not concrete. Concrete thinking is the ability to think on what goes on in the immediate. I'm not sure I know where you want me to go with this.
I guess what I'm getting at is during the time that you worked with Tanner, did he ever exhibit concrete thinking and taking things too literal?
Oh, yes.
Can you give me an example of that?
Well, if someone, if he were in a classroom and someone was playing a joke on him, number one, he couldn't interpret that as a joke if it was offensive to him. And instead of just dealing with that in a manner that would be accepted, he gets angry. His anger would be pretty bad at times.
Did you ever see him lash out at any other students?
I have never seen that.
Were you ever concerned that he might lash out at other students?
No, ma'am.
You had mentioned that when playing with students, other students, that he could get angry. Could you tell what the basis of the anger was? I mean, was it because anger to get anger? Was he frustrated? Was he annoyed? Could you tell a difference?
He basically he couldn't understand it. Just couldn't understand it.
When playing with other students, did you ever see him become frustrated with the process?
Yes.
Can you give the jury an example of one of those instances?
I can't remember the name of this game years ago. It was a card game. You collect the cards and then you play I
The
can't remember.
Pokemon?
Might be that, sure. When I had him with another student, they would play that. They couldn't wait. That was exciting to them. But if the other student did not follow the rules, and believe me, Tanner knew the rules. He just didn't understand all of them, but he could quote them to you. If the other student did not follow those rules, he couldn't take that. He just didn't understand that. No, you can't do that. I told you earlier, you can't do that. He needed the world to behave in the way he had learned the world was supposed to behave. That's not the world.
Well, how important is structure?
Terribly important.
Why is structure terribly important?
Because it's the same thing over and over. There's no change. Tanner had difficulty with autistic students have difficulty with change in general. Any change in the routine, that will set them off. They can't adjust to that. If you sat down with them and you told them ahead of time and you kind of worked them through it and you helped them to decide, well, my behavior needs to be this and not this, then they would do all right. But if it was just a change, just happened, that just messes their day up. They cannot adjust to that. They have to learn coping techniques to do that.
Is this one of those things that you worked on with Tanner during the program?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, Beth, before I get into the actual program that you had with Tanner, I want to go back to you collecting all the information in order to develop that program.
Okay.
Now, before you had talked about the importance of going into the home and speaking with the parents and the grandparents and the caregivers in this case, did you, and I believe you told us that you had gone to Tanner's home
Yes.
and you had met with his mother,
Yes.
and you
No,
met with his
I met with
grandparents.
his mother briefly,
Okay.
mostly grandmother.
How important is it to go to the place where the student lives? Why does that matter when you're developing a program?
Well, it gives me an insight into how they live at home, the circumstances and the environment that they live in. And all of that, of course, affects our behavior.
Well, you said that it can affect your behavior. How can home life affect the behavior of a student who is on the spectrum?
No different than from any other child. Okay? Home life affects every child. The difference is a child who is not on the autism spectrum can adjust to those changes and can go on with the day in a normal manner. Children with autism cannot adjust. They have difficulty adjusting to those changes, and it's frustrating to them.
And that's where you come in to teach some coping skills to help them adjust to those changes.
Yes, ma'am.
You said that you briefly met his mother. What was your first impression of her?
I did not feel like I didn't see any display of mothering. I didn't see that. Tana was upset because she was there in the home and she would get into his things He didn't like that at all. And she wasn't in, like I said, I didn't see her very often. I know I saw her once, and I possibly could have seen her twice. She was not a mother. She just wasn't a mother. She just did not have the motherly instincts. She had problems of her own. And Tanner was put on the back burner.
May I have a moment, Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Beth, I'm going to publish what has already been admitted as Defense Exhibit number 69. Do you recognize this document?
I sure recognize that scribbling, yes.
Is that your scribble?
That's mine.
Okay. You had mentioned that Tanner's mom was having some issues. Were there any concerns about her being in the home?
Tanner didn't particularly like it back then. Like I said, she got into his things, moved things around. I mean, he had a routine, and he needed to stick to that routine. And with his mother being in the home, and it was a small home, with his mother being there, it just put a stick in his spokes. He just couldn't roll with it.
Now, Beth, did the grandparents have any concerns with Tanner and the mom being in the home? Or I should say, I see you documented that there were concerns. Is that something that affected the stability of the home?
You need to rephrase that.
I think I do. That wasn't a very good question.
No.
I'll try again.
Okay.
Did the grandparents in this case have any concerns with the mom being in the home?
Oh, I don't
Did
know.
her presence cause any instability?
For him, yes, but I don't know about the rest of the household.
And in your records, you had documented that the mother had not always, or had been in and out of his life, and that he had moved several times during his youth.
Yes.
Why is it important to document that he had moved several times?
Kind of seems like we're just repeat and repeat, doesn't it? It is important because anything that happens in a child's life affects them. And moving around is not stability. And it would be difficult to continue a normal routine in all different situations. Because, I don't know where they moved to. I don't know what that was like. He didn't either. He just had to go.
Right, so moving on to some more of your records. You had noted that the influence of Tanner's mother being in and out of his life was an area of concern, and that the grandparents believed that his aggressive behavior stems from the instability with the mother. Were you able to observe anything to support these concerns?
Where did I get, are you asking me where did you get the idea that they were concerned about the mother being in the home?
Yes.
Well, actually, the grandmother said to me at one meeting that when the mother was there, that she said her being here infringes upon Tanner's routines.
And we've already established that routines are important, right?
Absolutely.
And I wanted to note one more concern where the parents were concerned that MDT for Thursday, what is that? What is an MDT?
I don't remember.
Okay. And did you, could it be multidisciplinary team?
Did I what?
Could it be multidisciplinary team?
Oh, I bet it is. We could just make something up. Nobody knows.
Now, Beth, one of the things that was noted in your records was that the mother was back home and therefore Tanner's behavior is not exactly the same as before. Would that indicate to you that the mother's presence caused these disturbances?
My opinion is yes.
And one of the other concerns was that the effect of mom being in and out of his life.
Sure.
Oops, getting ahead of myself. Okay. Did Tanner's mom ever get involved in any of the sessions that you had at the home? And Judge, we can turn up the lights if you want.
Okay.
Oh,
Let there be light.
let there. Ask that again, please.
Okay. Did Tanner's mother ever get involved in any of the sessions you had in the home?
No.
Did she ever make her presence known during these sessions?
She was in the room, and that's it.
And would she ever make any comments about what was going on during the sessions, even though she wasn't directly involved with
No.
them? You mentioned his, in your records, you talked about how his behavior seemed to change whether mom was there or not there. Based upon your observations, do you feel that he was doing better with your program when she was in the home or out of the home?
Out.
Why is that?
Because her being in the home interrupts his routine.
Also in that home was his grandmother. Did you, what were your first impressions of her?
She's a lovely lady, and she tried her best.
Did she have her own issues?
Probably. We didn't discuss them.
Did you have the opportunity to watch Tanner and his grandmother interact together?
Yes, a little bit. Sure.
And how'd those interactions go?
It's according to what she asked Tanner to do. But mostly, it was okay. I mean, I'm sure they had their differences, but I never saw him get angry at his grandmother.
Over the course of your sessions with the family and with Tanner, and based upon your observations, did his grandmother seem to love Tanner?
Oh, yes.
And did Tanner
Oh,
seem
yes.
to love her?
Oh, yes. They adored each other.
And did his grandmother seem motivated to try to help Tanner and to make sure that he gets the services that he needed?
Yes.
Do you think she was able to help the way she wanted to, or only the way that she was able to?
I can't answer that for her.
Hang on just a minute. Your objection's sustained. You don't need to answer that.
I'm not going to answer that.
Did you have the opportunity to meet his grandfather?
Yes, I did.
And did you watch the interactions between Tanner and his grandfather?
Yes, some.
What were those like?
The grandfather was a little more demanding, a little gruff with him at times, I thought.
Did you ever see him raise his voice or hear him raise his voice to Tanner?
Yes,
Did you ever hear him bark at him or snap at him?
yes,
Did you ever hear him, say ugly things to Tanner?
No. Just in an ugly tone.
When this happened, were you able to watch Tanner's demeanor and how he accepted this?
Yes.
And how did his demeanor change?
Yes.
How so?
You could tell it upset him. You could tell he wasn't happy with what he was being asked to do, and certainly not the way he was being asked to do it.
Was his grandfather very involved in this program that you
No.
established?
Not really.
Did you ever try to get him involved in the program?
No.
Did he ever express any interest in trying to help out?
No.
Did you ever meet with him to try to work with him on how to handle a child that was on the spectrum?
We talked about behavior and how one person's behavior can affect the other person's behavior. But no, we didn't get it. He was a serviceman. I didn't push him too far.
Did he seem receptive to your information?
No.
Did he seem to understand what you were doing was so important?
No.
Did he seem to care?
Well, I think he cared because I was in the home, in and out of the home, and it's not that we didn't get along with each other, because we did. He just didn't understand. He had no understanding. He just wanted Tanner to quit having his tantrums, to behave. And he was the one setting Tanner's behavior off.
So it was kind of like a vicious cycle?
It was, yes ma'am.
And so you have to work not just on one, you have to be able to work on both of them?
That's correct.
And if one is not willing or receptive to
Judge, I'll
help.
object at this point of leading.
Don't lead your witness.
If one person is not willing to accept the help, how does that affect the other?
Well, the program can't work. Have you ever ridden a bicycle with one tire? It's a little difficult, and that's the way this works.
So let's talk about some of the other parts of the program that you worked on with. You had mentioned earlier about cognitive processing, and I think you also meant social skills. Mentioned social skills. Let's start with cognitive processing. What did you mean when you said cognitive processing?
What I mean is, when we do a behavior, there's going to be a consequence. And in the normal way the brain works, you can foresee what that consequence may be. So you tell yourself, we don't want to do that. He doesn't foresee that. He just can't foresee that. He has to learn, he learned coping to stop and to think about it. What have I just done? And if I do this, what's going to happen? And that's a hard process for anyone. They have to stop themselves in the middle of whatever's happening. But he could not see, couldn't project what was going to happen.
So is cognitive processing, is that interrelated with the ability to problem solve?
Oh, absolutely.
And you mentioned that Tanner couldn't foresee consequences of his actions. Does that directly impact his ability to problem solve?
It can, yes, and probably does in many ways.
Based upon your observations of Tanner, could you see him attempting to work through the process to solve a problem?
I could. He was getting there. Let's put it that way.
And describe that for me.
He would stop he would always look at me, and I'd just look at him back like, come on, let's think about this. You got to think about this. So he had learned, at least to stop what he was doing if it didn't feel like it was right. He didn't, in the beginning, he could not do that.
Well, how do our emotions play into our ability to problem solve?
How do our emotions?
Yes, when we're talking about problem solving, you talked about cognitive processing, but do our emotions affect our ability to cognitively process?
Certainly.
And so were you ever let's try that again. Did you ever see a situation where emotions, or Tanner's emotions, got in the way of his ability to problem solve?
Yes. For instance, playing the game with the other student, you know, he knew those rules. He knew those rules, and that student just broke the rules. And so I would watch him, and he got to where, when that happened, he would stop and think.
Did you ever work with him on the importance of being able to compromise?
Yeah.
Why is that important?
Because when you're around people, you have to compromise. It's not all about you.
How did your sessions on compromise go with Tanner?
Well, we didn't have trash cans. It's not like we had a session, okay, today we're going to do nothing but compromise.
Mm-hmm.
The compromising goes along with the problem solving and hopefully the understanding of what's going to happen. If a certain behavior is displayed, this is going to happen, and that's not good.
Now, Beth, you had also talked about the importance of learning social skills. Why is it important that we learn social skills?
Because we live in a social society.
What kind of social skills did you work on with Tanner?
We worked on talking about what other people wanted to talk about, not always what we wanted to talk about. Allowing other people to join us. You know, if he's working on something, he's doing real well, and they come over and want to join him, you know, let's let them. Maybe they have some good ideas.
You had mentioned earlier about community outings. What kind of outings would you take Tanner on?
We went to the park. We went to restaurants. We went out to my house to see the deer. That's about it. We went to numerous restaurants. Some that were quiet and some that had a more noisy environment.
Why are these community outings important in your work?
In my work?
Yes, and your work with students.
Because it helps them to learn to cope and to adjust and to accept what's happening around them without having a meltdown.
Throughout these outings, did you see any improvement in Tanner's behavior and
yes.
his coping?
Oh, yes. Yes, Tanner. At first, the first restaurant, he talked too loudly. And, you know, it interrupted people around us. And as it went on, he learned not to do that. And he would ask me, am I talking too loudly? I would say, a little bit, yep. And he would adjust.
Now, Beth, I have some more of your records here. And one of the things was discussed was the ability to reduce Tanner's tantrums and increase socialization skills to allow him the privilege of having friends.
Yeah,
Did Tanner have a lot of friends?
no. Tanner was bullied at school. So, you know, he might have had, I don't ever know of one, to tell you the truth, but hopefully he did have friends, but I don't know of a single one.
Now, you had talked about taking Tanner out to eat, and one of the notes that some of the behavior that you observed was he was excited to go with me to get a bite to eat. He was awkward when ordering his meal. He was not vested in any topic other than his areas of interest. I always initiated the conversation, and Tanner would respond, but did not perpetuate a stream of conversation.
Right.
Was
Not
this-
unless it was his interest.
Was this uncommon, or is this uncommon with a person on the spectrum?
No.
And as you proceeded with these community outings, you said that you were able to see some improvement?
Oh, yes.
And would that be noted by Tanner was being more talkative?
Yes. He communicated better because he talked with us, and he just had an overall improvement, really, which is why I recommended him continue.
And I'm not going to go through all of these slides with you, but I did have a question about these tick marks. What are these tick marks for? So, because when the jury goes back and takes these records back with them, I'd like them to be able to understand what it all means in there.
It means he did well. It means he entered the conversation well. He added to the conversation. He initiated. He talked loudly. Now that one's not particularly good. But his turn taking was really improving. I was very proud of it.
But in spite of some of these, he still had some issues. And again, the jury will be able to take these records back and look at them. But you noted that goals are showing good improvement and continue with the current plan. How important is it to continue with these plans?
It's important. It's very important.
Why is it important?
To strengthen the coping skills that he's learned, and to help build his confidence that he is communicating with others. He's doing a good job. He's turn taking. He's just behaving well.
At this point, you recommended that the school continue with the current plan. Do you know if that happened?
I don't know for sure, but I don't think so.
And what can happen if a person who is learning new skills, showing improvement, is suddenly taken out of that program? What happens to those skills?
Well, I can't really say. It would be the individual. Speaking about our individual, he will either continue with what he's learned or it will go by the wayside.
Well, let me ask you this. How difficult is it to transfer the skills that he is learning with you while in your presence in these semi-controlled environments? How difficult is it to take that and put it into another context where he may not be with you, may not be in a controlled environment? I guess the transferability of these skills.
Yes. Well, at first it was difficult, but when he learns how to behave in a manner that is acceptable, then he goes on and he uses them. It was, in my opinion, it was very important that he continue. And I just don't think it happened.
Now, Beth, it's been 20 years since you've had Tanner as a student. It's been over 20 years since you were his in-home facilitator. How do you remember him so well?
I liked him. He was a great kid, and he was mannerly. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I'm sorry I did that. I just had fun with him. He was a fun kid.
Now, Beth, you understand that he has pled guilty to the offense of capital murder that involved a kidnapping.
Yes, I do.
And you understand that there have been other allegations involved with that kidnapping and murder of Athena.
I don't know that. I have not involved myself in anything.
Now, Beth, are you saying that Tanner's autism was, the reason why this incident occurred?
No,
Do you feel that it's an excuse for what happened?
no,
Do you feel that it justifies him
No.
doing what he did?
no.
Do you feel that it's a defense to what he did?
It's what?
A defense to what he did?
No, I don't. I'll tell you where it comes in my mind, is this young man should have never been in that truck by himself.
Now, Beth, I want to go back to one last question, and that is, when you were Tanner's in-home facilitator, did you enjoy spending time with him?
Did I what?
Did you enjoy spending time with him?
Yes, very much.
All right, Your Honor, I'll pass the witness.
Mr. Staten, do you anticipate much cross-examination of her?
There's been a lot gone over, Judge. I don't know where it's gonna go.
All right, let's take our morning break, okay? We'll start back up at 10 minutes to 11.